We met in high school in our 10th grade year, and my friend, she wanted me to meet this cute guy that played basketball in our neighborhood. So we went out to play tennis, and that's how we met, and we ended up hitting it off and continued dating. Donnie joined the Marine Corps. I went off to college for a little bit, and then we got married after he returned from his year overseas. And about 4.5 years later, we had our first son, Zachary, and then about 3 years after that, we had our second son, Eli. Well, our life before Donnie's accident, he was very active. He was an active cyclist. He did some surfing. He did mountain biking. He loves running. He's run a couple half marathons and the Gate River Run several times. And so just very, very active and always looking for the next your next hobby. The night of his accident, he had come home from work and he was going to go out for a bike ride, and me and my older son were heading to church, and on the way back I kept getting these phone calls that I didn't recognize, so I wasn't answering them. And so finally I took one of the calls, and it was raining. We were driving down J. Turner Butler, and it was the emergency room. Something had happened with my husband. They told me that he had had a massive brain hemorrhage, and they didn't know what had caused it, and that if I wanted, they could try to do the surgery to remove the clot, but he had less than a 5% chance of surviving. It was very touch and go. We didn't know if he was going to live. We didn't know what the outcome was going to be. You know, I had 2 kids at home where I wanted to be there and I wanted to be at the hospital, and it was definitely a tug of war, being a mom and being with Donnie. And so that was probably one of the hardest parts, and we have a fantastic family support. So they were, you know, doing their best to be with the boys and make sure that they were taken care of, and you know, we have great neighbors that they were hanging out with, but I spent most of my time at the hospital just because we didn't know when he might wake up. But as soon as this happened with Donnie, friends and family were like, you need to get him to Brooks, you need to get him to Brooks, you just need to get him there. And so we were just listening to everybody and saying, okay, we just need to get them there. They're the best in the area. They know what they're doing. They know how to deal with stroke patients and rehab and therapy, and they have so many, there's a lot of options. After he transferred to Brooks, then that's kind of when boot camp started, and things just really went on a kind of a quick upward swing. It was really encouraging to see them already pushing him. Now, he couldn't even sit up on his own. He couldn't transfer from, you know, the wheelchair to, well, he couldn't even sit up, so he wasn't in a wheelchair, he was in a bed. But he couldn't do any of that on his own. So for them to already be trying to get him to do that stuff instead of just laying in a hospital bed and just tending to his needs, it was very encouraging for me. I'm like, yes, he's young, he's got this drive, he's got this determination, don't give up on him. You know, it was great to have someone just not give up on him and just let him lay there. Because I knew that wasn't him. He has a fighting spirit, and for people to come around him and recognize that and help him fight was really encouraging. The team was just amazing. They made him fight. They didn't give up. They didn't take no for an answer.
Initially, our goals were just so that he can assist his family as much as he could with transferring, with bed mobility, just ease the burden of care for the caregivers. But it shifted once we realized that, hey, this guy wants more. And I think that's what kind of like pushed us, is the fact that I could tell that he wanted to do more, and I wanted to give him the opportunity to do more.
Donnie made amazing progress while he was here at Brooks. So went from needing assistance for every task to starting to learn to dress himself again and keep his balance.
I remember the very first time that we got Donnie up and walking, and that was a huge deal because for the longest time I don't think they were expecting that. I think we were just kind of like focusing on, hey, can we get this guy to transfer? Can we get him to where he can help his family? And then we shifted the goal to, hey, we could do this. We will try to get him back up and walking. He always had his family around, and I mean, that was huge. I mean, when he actually stood up, they were like, wow, Donnie, you're doing this, so that was fantastic. I mean, that's what we live for as therapists, is to see that moment, you know?
You know, I'm always looking for that next thing. I'm not satisfied with him just staying home and existing, watching TV and just be. I mean, he's too young. So always looking for what's next. Okay, what's after this program? What's after this program? And Brooks has always had something next, always had another step in the journey. They suggested the neuro day treatment. And so I said, okay, let's do it. He did that for 4 months, which was great. It was really good on working with cognitive therapy, thinking, you know, problem solving, which for him was actually very, very difficult. But it did help, and even while he was in the day treatment, he still was getting OT and PT and speech, which was fantastic. So after we concluded the neuroday treatment, the clubhouse was presented as an option, so we looked into that, and so Donnie started doing that. He's been there for about a year now. He really enjoys it. The clubhouse is phenomenal. He works on the computer, he does some office work. They go on like field trips to the movies or bowling, things like that. So it's been another great resource from Brooks.
I just enjoy working with Donnie. I think Donnie has found his fit, where he fit at the clubhouse. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think as therapists and working with persons with brain injury, we do that. We kind of bridge that gap of, you know, I don't know what's coming next. I'm unsure, you know, about myself, what I can do. And we're there to help them get to that next level.
So when Donnie was in outpatient therapy, Scott Brown was talking to us one day and knew that Donnie had been into cycling and presented the adaptive sports as an option. They had an adaptive cycling group that went, and at first Donnie was very hesitant because he wanted to get right back on his two-wheel bike. But still you do. But with a little coaxing, we went to the cycling event, the adaptive cycling, and he loved it. Donnie actually fell in love with it. We were able to get his own bike through the help of some coworkers and some fundraising. So we were able to do that in our own neighborhood. So that was a huge step for Donnie. Knowing that there's options out there, the surfing and the cycling and the clubhouse and the day treatment and outpatient and brain injury wellness that he's now doing has just made a world of difference in our lives, and I think Donnie's life. Mostly we're just like a normal family. I mean, our kids, you know, are involved in sports, so we go to the sporting events as much as we can. Our oldest son just graduated high school, so he'll be leaving soon. So, you know, family life just kind of goes on as any normal family does. I don't know that words could express our gratitude. I don't know that we could actively convey our thanks for all the time, not giving up, the encouragement. It seems like there's always someone who's encouraging, Donnie or myself, or, you know, just keep going, you're doing good. Even when we're like, no, we're stuck, he's not getting better, or he's not doing anything, they're always like, no, you're doing better, we're seeing this and we're seeing that. And the encouragement has been huge. Just the hours, because I know that they go way above and beyond. It's not just a 9-to-5 job for any of these people, and we so appreciate that, and that means the world to us. To have all you guys as a part of our lives, because you have been for the past almost 2 years. They're like our second family.